everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 items that you really should bring to university, but that you probably haven't thought of yourself. And a particular welcome to any of you who are brand new here. So firstly, I want to say an absolute huge congratulations to all of the sixth form and college leavers of 2020. You have done incredible just to get to this stage, considering the coronavirus pandemic and the mess as what has been the grading system over the last couple of weeks. So congratulations. Whether you have or haven't got your first choice university, I'm sure that you're going to have an amazing time, and by using these tips, you can feel a little bit more prepared for whatever situation you're going to be faced with in September. Tip number 1. So my first piece of advice is particularly relevant right at the start of your university journey. So on your first day moving in, you're probably going to be a little bit daunted by the concept of living in a whole flat with people who you've never met before, or potentially, if you were like me, having to go to dinner with 200 people you've never met before. This is where bringing a box of brownies or cupcakes, or even just a box of chocolates, can come in super handy. It's such a lovely surprise when someone knocks on your door, giving you a sweet treat after you've just moved in. Everyone's a bit hungry after the journey, and it really just breaks the ice with the two of you. And if you're a little bit awkward having conversations with brand new people, it immediately gives you something to bond over and talk about. And one of my best friends actually used this tip on the first day of university, and I'd never met him before, and now he's one of my closest friends. Tip number 2 is to bring with you playing cards, and not just playing cards. Bring with you 2 sets of identical playing cards, preferably from the pound shop, just because these are bound to get lost, and it's incredibly annoying if you have a brand new set of lovely playing cards and one goes missing, and then you really can't play the same games. So these are so useful for when you're having pre-drinks with your friends. You can all sit round and play various games together. These are so great at the beginning in freshers, when you don't know the people around you, but you all understand the basic rules of card games, so you can all engage together, and it's just a really lovely activity that you can do. So my third essential item that you should bring to university is a sleeping bag. The amount of times I've had friends staying over at mine on my floor, or them staying at other people's because there's been floods in their room, their neighbours are too noisy, or people are staying over with friends from other halls. It's such a useful thing that you can put in your room, and it makes the experience of the person staying over so much more comfortable. And another thing that goes along with this tip that is super useful, especially in light with coronavirus, is to bring a sleeping bag liner. So you can pick these up on Amazon for about a £5 or so. They're very affordable. And what it means is that you can put these inside of your sleeping bag, and then when the person's finished sleeping with it, you can just take it out and put it in with your normal washing, and it will make the whole process of sharing a sleeping bag much more hygienic. Tip number 4 is quite a random one, and I mean, I was the only person out of my group of friends who did this, but it was such an enjoyable item to bring with me to university, and that is a disco ball. So they're quite small, only about this size. You do have to be careful when you pack them, but honestly, the amount of times we put it on in the evening if we're staying in, had a karaoke, it's just such a fun way to completely transform the mood of your university room. Tip number 5 is to bring with you a stack of plastic cups. Whilst I understand it's so nice in the morning to have a glass of your orange juice, when it's midnight and you don't really know what's going on too much, and you've got your glasses, they're all going to knock over. They're going to smash all over the floor. People are going to kick them, knock them by accident, and that will really be such a nightmare for you at 2 in the morning when you need to go across your room and your floor is covered with shards of glass, and it can also be very dangerous. So whilst I think it is still very nice to bring with you a glass or 2, I 100% recommend bringing with you some plastic cups as well for when you've got a lot of friends over. My next piece of equipment is slightly random in the current situation, but that is in fact a travel adapter, specifically a European travel adapter. That's because my course, we didn't know that we were going abroad on the 4th week of my course, and I was lucky enough to have packed my travel adapter, therefore I didn't need to go out and buy one. However, lots of people did have to look around all of the shops to try and find themselves a travel adapter. And whilst I understand in this current world situation that it seems a lot less likely that you're going to be going on trips abroad, you never know what bargain flights might come up in your reading week that you really want to take advantage of. Tip number 7 is to bring with you a mini brolly. So I'm not talking about the ones that are about this long, I'm talking about those really small ones that completely fold in on themselves and they're absolutely tiny. So these are perfect for if you're going on a night out in the rain. That's because they're small enough to keep with you in your little handbag or your bum bag or whatever you're using most of the time. Or you can store them in your jacket pocket or coat pocket most of the time. And that means that you don't have to spend an extra £1.50 every single night it rains just to hang it up in the locker room and then to nearly forget it at the end. Tip number 8 is to bring with you a white t-shirt. A really cheap one from somewhere like Primark will be absolutely perfect. And this is because you've got no idea what kind of social events are going to be hosted at your time at university. And it's so much more convenient if you've been invited to a party in the evening and you've already got the white t-shirt. So these can be useful for glitter parties, as we had one in Freshers Week, also paint parties, foam parties, UV rays, anything like that that university nightclubs absolutely love to throw. Tip number 9 is to bring with you a multi-charger. So what I mean by this is where it's got a USB end and then out comes about 5 different charging wires that can charge a range of phones. That's because if you're like me and you have an Apple charger and one of your friends comes over who has an Android phone, then if they're getting ready with you or they're staying over the night and forget their phone charger, their phone's going to completely die, which can be stressful for them. So these are so cheap to pick up, and I think they're so useful for when you've got groups of friends over who all have different phones, so you can make sure that you're the perfect host for the situation and can provide for everyone. And my final thing that you should purchase before you go to university is just a pair of flip-flops or sliders. So these are incredibly useful for all of those grown-up activities that you have to do, like doing your laundry, as for most people it's outside in a separate building to where their room is, or putting the bins out. That's because I personally hated doing these 2 activities whilst I was in my first year, and by having to put on a pair of trainers and spend a couple of minutes doing up the laces, I just procrastinated the task for several hours. Whereas if I just had a pair of flip-flops or sliders by my bedroom door, I could just put them on and the task would be half as long. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do like and leave a comment down below if there's anything that you think new freshers should bring to university with them. And if you want to see more content from me, please do subscribe as well, as I'll be posting super regularly. Bye bye.